What's good, y'all? Back again, another day. It's your boy, the Curtis York. We here again with another video. I'm going live really early tonight, guys. I can't hold you. Got a date night with the wife, and I don't know how I'm gonna be feeling when I get home. So we just had to go ahead on and get it out the way now. Your boy is dressed up, as you can see. We got the the little get up. I've actually been inspired, y'all, by this book I've been reading called Black Ivy. And I think I showed it to you before, but if not, here it is, Black Ivy. So I got slacks that are a little bigger than usual. You can see around here, I got to get it tailored a little bit because I don't really like the fit. I definitely should have bought a new belt as well, but we got work to do. I'm gonna have to see my tailor get the top taken in a little bit just to get a better fit up there. But there you go, working on now. Just gotta put a little extra on it. But yeah, we got just a little button up polo style shirt, cardigan. Definitely need a new belt. It's starting to show wear, but that's the look that we're going for. Like I said, inspired by this book, Black Ivy, A Revolt in Style. And I also had to give credit to the movie Oppenheimer. Like, I love the way that they were able to capture the style in that film. It definitely fit the times and the generation, how people dressed back then. I thought it was superb. And that's not what I want to talk about the movie. Um, my biggest takeaways, and I'm going to have to go see it again probably tomorrow. I ain't even gonna lie. But the biggest takeaways that I saw from my first watching, number one, and spoiler alert, y'all, if you haven't seen the movie, then you might want to bypass this. But I try to analyze everything and find life lessons that I can use and everything. So the first thing I saw was that when you do something great, if you live long enough, then people will find a way to vilify you for it. Now, granted, building an atomic bomb is a horrible example of doing something great. Whether it was great or not is definitely questionable. But, that for the sake of conversation, we're going to remove that and we're going to look at just in general. If you look at anybody that was great or they changed the world, I like to say people that put a dent in history, those type of people went through some type of ostracization, or they went through a period of when people questioned their intentions or didn't believe them or turned them into the villain. So I thought that that was pretty fascinating to see it happen in the movie. And then another takeaway, which a lot of us may not be able to put a dent on history, or we may not be able to impact the world. So that part might not affect everybody. But what will affect everybody is toxic people. And I know, I try to stay away from the conversation of toxic people because I feel like everybody has somebody toxic, or everybody thinks that someone is toxic, and no one ever thinks that they're the toxic person. Um, I know that I can be a very toxic person. I'm very self aware and I understand that I have a lot of toxic traits, which is why I work very hard on my personal development and my growth because I know I have a lot of things that hinder that. Now, with that being said, when you're dealing with toxic people, and shout out to my guy Rich over at Get the Money Now. I've been shouting out him. If you haven't checked him out, make sure you do that. But we've been talking about the idea of transactional people, and I think what we also need to talk about is toxic people, because toxic people will drag you through some of the craziest situations of your life if you get entangled with them. Um, as y'all know, I'm a big reader of Robert Greene, 48 Laws of Power, and also his other books. And something that Robert Greene always says is stay away from toxic people. He's like, don't even bother with them. It ain't even worth it. Like, if you can avoid toxic people, then stay away from them because they will bring you down. They'll drag you into unnecessary battles. They'll just make your life miserable when it's very easy to avoid them. So, watching that movie Oppenheimer, it was very interesting to see how one decision that he made dealing with a toxic person, the ramifications that came from that bit him later on in the future in ways that he probably didn't even think were possible, simply because, he just happened to piss off the wrong person. So you always got to be careful when you're dealing with people. You know, I think it wasn't last night, because last night the audio was out, and I apologize for that. I see my guy Rich made it through. Shout out to Rich, man. But the night before, that was Monday. Monday, we were talking about how, you have to keep your guard up when you're dealing with transactional people. But with toxic people, man, it's like we talked about the five character types, maybe five. For some people, it may be three. You never know. I think three is very extreme. You definitely want to try to give yourself totally different categories. But, on your five subcategories of people that you run into, one of them should be the toxic person. And whenever you detect traits of toxic people, you definitely want to limit your exposure as much as possible. They're unavoidable because, like I said, a toxic person could be your parent, it could be your wife, which, if you marry a toxic person, then you just got to deal with it. Yeah, vampires, they will drain the life out of you, man. They will. You got to be extremely careful when you come across them. If you run into them and they're your boss or in a work situation like that, then, you limit your interactions. And ultimately, where I'm at in life, if I come across a toxic boss or somebody that's over me that's toxic, I'm not even gonna lie, I'm gonna try to look somewhere else. That's just where I'm at in my stage of my career. Like, I don't even want to deal with them. The headache and the hassle that you have to go through afterwards, it just takes a mental toll on you, and it can shorten years of your life, man. Like, and like I said on the other one Monday, a toxic person isn't going to come up and say, the same way that what you call it, a um a transactional person, they're not just going to come up and say, hey, I'm a transactional person, this is how you deal with me and this is how I'll deal with you. No, a toxic person probably don't even know that they're toxic. Like the movie Oppenheimer, again, the guy, his name was Strauss, I think. It was played by Robert Downey Jr. There you go, my accent came out just now. Robert Downey Jr. He was talking about how, well, he wasn't talking about, he was, in the beginning of the movie, you see Oppenheimer and Albert Einstein having a conversation with each other. And then at the end of the conversation, um, Einstein walks away. And as Einstein walks away, the guy Strauss, Robert Downey Jr., is walking up. And Einstein just walked right past him. In that one instant, because Einstein walked past him, he assumed that they were talking about him, and his ego was just so bruised by the fact that he didn't say anything when he walked by. Like, that was strike one. That was strike one. Strike two was later on in the movie, Oppenheimer embarrassed him. So, usually with toxic people, you don't get to strike two. I mean, strike three. Strike one, they're putting you in the category. Strike two, you're out of there. So this man went on a campaign to destroy this guy's life simply because of those two instances. He got embarrassed one time, and well, actually, he got embarrassed two times, because the first time Albert Einstein walked past him and didn't speak to him, he was embarrassed. The second time, he got embarrassed in front of an audience, and he decided that he was going to destroy this man's life. So you definitely have to be mindful of toxic people, man. They will go through hell and high water just to end you. 48 Laws of Power. There's a story. Oh, 100%. It definitely will. There's a story about a con man. Actually, it was a group of con men, and they conned this one guy who was a sheriff deputy. And, they conned countless amounts of other people. They conned them. It was nothing. That's just what they did. They conned, they move on to the next town and go on about their business. But they conned this one guy who was a sheriff, and his ego was so bruised. He said he was going to do everything in his power to track down all of them. And this man had a farm. He lost his farm. He had a wife. He lost his wife. Like, he literally lost everything. But he tracked down all of those people and he fixed his ego. I'm trying to think, which chapter was that, man? Like, the story was so crazy. I had to Google it and look it up to confirm it was real. But yes, some people will go so far, like if you cross them, and it could be an accident. If you cross them, then you might not even realize that you crossed them. But if you do, you know, they will go through whatever it takes to get you back. Like a lot of people were laughing at the movie, and what was that? It wasn't a movie, it was a documentary. The Last Dance with Michael Jordan. And every time somebody would say something, Michael Jordan would say, "I took that personally." And people thought that that was funny, but y'all, that is that character trait that I'm talking about. Like, you look at Michael Jordan and we acknowledge his success and we glorify it. But y'all, this man went through hell and high water just to, desecrate other people. Like, you got to understand, these type of people are savages. Like, Michael Jordan didn't go out there to play basketball just to win. He went out there to destroy people. He wanted to break egos and make people retire. Like, that's what he was out there doing. And everybody else was just out there playing basketball or doing their job. Nah, he was out there trying to end souls. And when you come across those types of people, man, just leave them alone. Just leave them alone. So, that those were my two biggest takeaways from the movie. I thought it was really cool. It was a good biopic. It's very rare that you see a biopic just go over it and focus on a specific period of a person's life. I watched a fair amount of biopics, and I noticed that the ones that really don't do good is when they try to cover everything. Like the James Brown biopic with Chadwick Boseman, R.I.P. I think it was too short, and I don't think it really went in depth. It didn't talk about a lot of the things, and it tried to do too much in too little time. The movie Ray, I think that was a very good biopic, but look at how long it was. It was able to capture everything, and it was able to give things time. And I don't know enough about Ray Charles to really say how good it was, but I have a working knowledge of Robert Oppenheimer, so I could kind of look and see, and I thought it was pretty good from a cinematic standpoint. I'm definitely going to go see it again. It was that good. And like I was saying in the video that's going to be coming up when I drop the vlog, at that time when it came out, I didn't really have the luxury to watch movies in the theater as much as I wanted to. With 3 kids, a wife, and working, you don't really have time to do that. And I couldn't take the family to go see it. They wouldn't have wanted to see that. So, now that I have the time, which is be careful what you ask for because you get it. I went to go see it, and I'll probably go see it again. And after I watch it again, I'll probably have a much more in-depth review of the actual movie. But just off the top of my head, those were the two biggest takeaways that I had from it. With that being said, I'm gonna go ahead on and drop off. Sorry I came on so early tonight. Oh man, hold on. Before I go, I gotta answer this question. Spike Lee's Malcolm X. What did I think about Spike Lee's Malcolm X? Um, whew, that's a really good question. So I'm gonna answer this and then I'm gonna go, y'all, because like I said, I got a date tonight. I gotta make sure that we're there on time because there's limited seatings, and I definitely don't want to miss our seatings. But I do have a backup plan just in case we do. Um, what did I think about Spike Lee's Malcolm X? Um, I think that that movie was actually very good as well. It focused on a lot of different aspects of Malcolm X's life, which I thought was very good. It wasn't rushed either. I think that they took their time with it. Spike Lee really paid a lot of attention to detail. He based it off of the book with Alex Haley. So I thought that that was a really good biopic. Um, I would have liked to see more about his time in the nation and his interactions with Elijah Muhammad. I think that in that movie, and it kind of created the narrative that Elijah Muhammad was this boogeyman. And I think that the media has a habit of doing that. And I think that it created a lot of propaganda, which I could definitely see the agenda of why they would do that. But I think that, the movie, it was great. I like the movie, don't get me wrong, but Malcolm's time with the nation when he was actually in the organization, it would have been better to see because I don't think they really captured just how powerful the nation was at that time. Like if you watch, There's a lot of old videos of Elijah Muhammad and stuff on YouTube. If you watch, I think it was his last Savior's Day speech. Man, they had boats, they had universities, they had all these different types of events. Like they had schools, universities, hospitals. They had all of this infrastructure. And I think that, it would have been really cool to see that aspect captured as well. The part where, they were like, and I'm just remember I haven't seen the movie in a while, so I'm just kind of spitballing off the top of my head. But the part where, they were like Malcolm had too much power, you know, yes, Malcolm had power, but Malcolm was a cog in the machine. So, and I know it was his biography, so it's hard to focus on the whole movement and not just him. But I think, when you do that, it kind of takes away from the whole mechanism and just focuses on one piece of the machine. And I think that's why a lot of people have vitriol and hatred towards the nation. And, it's not the worst thing in the world. They did a lot of great things. But to sum things up, I think that that movie was really good. It focused on how Black people can come from crime and they can change and become something more than what they were. You know, a lot of us come up in crazy circumstances, different upbringings, not the best ideal situations. And out of those situations, those people are able to turn around and become something great. And it's unfortunate because a lot of people die before they get to make that transition into that art. So the first point I brought up about the movie Oppenheimer, I'm gonna tie it together because I always got to do that. So the movie Oppenheimer, we get to see him rise and fall and then redeem himself. The movie Malcolm X, his life was cut short. So we saw him rise, we saw him fall, and we did see a redemption arc, but we didn't see the redemption arc. I think that there was a lot that could have happened. And that's no fault of the movie because the movie just pictured his life. But you know, I think that it was a really good movie. I think that that movie actually sparked like a whole generation of people caring about Malcolm X and, a whole pro-black movement that popped up because of that movie. In the early 90s, people, found consciousness and they became, a lot more caring about each other and social issues and things like that. Now, granted, what year did that movie come out? Let me see. Malcolm X, Spike Lee. Let's see. 1992. All right. So I was born when that movie came out, but I was like 2. So I was 1. I was 1. So I was 1 when that movie came out. I saw it when I was a lot older. 1992. Yeah, I just Googled it. Shout out to my boy Jamari, man. Welcome back, brother. It's good to see you in Yorktown, man. Yeah, that movie came out in 1992. So I think that, that movie actually did spark a new generation of a lot of people waking up. And so, when you come across a movie like that, then, it served its purpose. So I think that that movie's great. I enjoy that movie, man. It's like I said, it's a redemption arc, man. I think Spike Lee did a really good job. I think Spike Lee is a great director. I like a lot of his movies, man. He shows a lot of range and variety. I think he's definitely a master of his craft. So I think that was just a master at work. Denzel was firing off on all cylinders, man. And it's crazy because that movie, people still use a lot of gifs and memes from that movie. Like, get that brother some water. I think that's what it would get that brother some water. This brother's thirsty. That's how you know you have a good movie when people can still take it freaking 30 years later and apply it to everyday situations. So, I think that movie was amazing, man. You know, that's where I'm at with that. I love that movie. It was a great biography, man. Um, It's been a minute. I'm gonna hit you up soon, chop it up. Just wanted to check in while I had some time. Definitely appreciate it, man. You always welcome to Yorktown, my guy. But with that being said, depending on the time, last time I said I was gonna come back, them kids wore me out, man. I couldn't come back. But like I said, I just wanted to play it safe because we are going live until we hit 500. Right now we are 44 subscribers away. And, I don't know what my afternoon is going to look like after we get back from the movies. So I just wanted to make sure that I hit the mark. So I might come back tonight. If I don't take it personally. It's all love at Yorktown, man. We'll be back. And I'm going to holler at y'all because I got to make sure my wife getting ready because we cannot be late. So holla, y'all.